Welcome back to MindShareTV, where we explore the ideas shaping the future of education and human potential. My name is Robert Merdlacci, founder of Mindshare Learning Media. Today's topic, building thriving schools, mental health matters. And today I'm honored to be joined by Dr. Gina Cherkowski, Conference Chair of the Mental Health Summit and Executive Director of the Werklund Institute for Social and Emotional Intelligence Canada. Dr. Gina Cherkowski is a leading voice in advancing evidence-based mental health and well-being in schools and organizations. Her work bridges research and practice to help educators create thriving, resilient learning environments. Dr. Gina Cherkowski, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Robert. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome back. You've been on the show a number of times and grateful for your time today. Very exciting conference you'll be hosting this April, but from a big picture perspective, from your vantage point, working nationally and internationally, how are students really doing today?
Well, I think that we're seeing a lot of evidence that classrooms have been shifting over time. Coming back even after COVID, we've seen new and different things emerging in our classrooms, new needs. We certainly see a higher level of anxiety, stress, and other addiction type tendencies, like being on our phone. Being on our phone during COVID was a habit forming. And we're seeing evidence of increased complexity as well. So higher student needs in terms of academic student needs, as well as the mental health needs that we're talking about. So I think our students need some support, and I think our teachers need some support. So do our leaders. And it's a good time to think about what other things can we do inside an education system to help people be well so they can learn well.
Particularly in the age of AI, to throw that complexity into the equation.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just changing the game even more rapidly. And now we have a lot of other things that we need to consider in order to create humans that are well and can thrive with human capacities and human intelligences in the age of artificial intelligence.
Well, it's interesting. My wife was asking me what I'm giving up for Lent, and she suggested I might give up my phone after 8 p.m. in the evening. And I struggled with that because I work at different hours. So I'm trying to decide, what my priority is going to be. But managing screen time for both students and adults is not an easy task today.
Absolutely. And you and I were just talking about a recent study that showed a reduction in screen time from 5 hours down to 1, really had significant impact on student well-being, and obviously that would impact learning.
Thank you for that. And we have a question on that a little further into the conversation. The Mental Health Summit, congratulations. This is year 3. What is the core purpose of the Mental Health Summit, and why is it such an important gathering right now?
Well, in year 1, when you were here, and thank you very much for coming to the very first event, we were looking to see if this was an important event for teachers, and kind of it was really a pilot study. Was this needed? And we had 300 people attending in year 1, and the feedback was amazing. It was a resounding yes, this is something that teachers, educators, school leaders need and want. And so our goal is to bring a systems approach to well-being and mental health in schools, and bring in leading authorities who can help us with cutting-edge new research, but also bring in some decision makers, some leaders who have perspective from their schools and would help talk about how we can implement change, both at local levels, but also maybe there's some collaborative opportunities for cross-Canadian, pan-Canadian work together. So this really is a way to gather people who are interested in how do we shift things and do a better job of supporting well-being, mental health inside schools for all stakeholders that are involved.
Thank you for that. It looks like you got a pretty amazing lineup of speakers. Talk to us about the inspiration for some of the folks that are speaking. Dr. Hargraves is a personal friend, and I've had him on our show in the past. Amazing individual and incredibly renowned for the work he does.
Yeah, and he's going to draw from some of his work on identity, and identity formation and creation is highly connected with belonging. So as we look at, and that's some of the work that I did in my PhD, as we look at who in classrooms develop certain identities, either as learners or as resistors or somewhere in the middle. Identity creation is very important, and it really is tightly linked to how closely are you belonged or aligning to a learning group or a social group or something like that. So I'm really thrilled that he's coming in with his perspective, not only on Canada, but also his international global perspective. So I think that he's got a lot to share, and I'm really excited to learn from him.
Absolutely. And you have a number of other PhDs in the roster as well. Talk to us about some of your other presenters.
Absolutely. Dr. Julia Ruckledge is actually coming to us all the way from New Zealand. She wrote a
Wow.
book called The Better Brain, and she is looking at what's the connection between the gut-brain biome, so the gut and the brain, in terms of mental health, and also ADHD and how it impacts our systems and a systems approach to mental health, but from a different perspective. So I'm super excited about that. And Dr. Jean Clinton is coming to us. She's the author of the book Love Builds Brains, a developmental psychologist, and she is going to talk to us about how do we wire little brains best is by building human connections. And she's going to talk to us about some of the best ways that we can have protective factors for our youth and students. She's also got a great wit. I think you've heard her speak before, and highly recommend her. So
Amazing.
she can talk about important things, but really engage us as well. And then we've got Dr. Haley Watson, who is actually wrote the book Finding the Words, and she has written the curriculum behind Open Parachute. So that's a program that a lot of schools use around the country, where teachers can have meaningful conversations with youth, building pro-social skills and also mental health literacy and support. So I think that's really exciting. Not on your screen, but we also have Dr. John Tyler Benfett from the University of British Columbia. He's absolutely amazing. He wrote a book on kindness for educators inside the classroom, and he does work with dogs to help reduce stress and anxiety inside schools, both at the university and at the K-12 level. And the next two that are on your screen now are Kate Arthur and Dr. Rebecca Winthrop. Kate Arthur is the author of Am I Literate? Some people in Canada might remember her from Kids Code Jeunesse. She founded that organization. Right. Yeah, and has always been sort of talking about what skills do kids need in order to thrive in today's world. She talked a lot about coding back then, and now she's looking at it from a new perspective of how is AI changing the world? What will it mean to be literate in the age of AI and to be able to thrive and be well inside learning systems? Similar but different, Dr. Rebecca Winthrop, who just actually was in Davos, did a few sessions there, and we're thrilled to have her. She's also going to talk about AI, but she's coming from the idea of engagement. And I love her research that shows the 4 different ways that youth could be engaged or disengaged. Her book is actually the disengaged teen. And she's going to share with us a little bit of that insight, but also talk to us about AI and mental health and well-being. So I think it's a really diverse lineup, and I think it's really exciting.
Fascinating. You're covering all the bases. So talk to me about who should attend the summit.
This summit is for teachers, but it's also for principals and superintendents. It also would service folks in the wellness stream that actually support or surround K-12 schools. So they could be wellness coaches inside the school, psychologists inside the school, but it also could be people who support the school. So for example, Youth Integrated Services here in Alberta, it's called Kickstand. We've got Kickstand coming to lead some talks, but also to participate and engage in the conversations that we're having. We also have CASA, and I know that C21 is familiar with some of the work they're doing on CASA classrooms, which are mental health classrooms inside schools across the province of Alberta. So it's partners also that surround the school and other stakeholders that support mental health, wellness, and well-being inside schools.
And talk to me about coming back to screen time and the impact. There's been a lot of talk about technology in general and there is an inverse effect. The more screen time, 5 hours or more a day, which equates to almost a full-time job in a week, that your student performance will decline. And so managing that, whether it's self-regulation or I have a sample of one of the pouches. I don't see it right now, but you can. There's school districts are bringing in cell blocking pouches to help students with their screen time. School districts, provinces, states have banned mobile phones, but there's got to be a better way.
Well, I think it's a really difficult situation to take away that distraction. There's even research that shows us that it might be a different student, a row or two away from you inside the classroom that has their phone upside down on their desk, not even using it, but that is a distractor for all the students in the near vicinity. So we have to help support kids with that, to expect them to have the self-regulation. There's a huge comparison culture in their social media. There's the dopamine hits that they're getting. So there's a whole bunch of ways that draw them in. They don't want to, they have a fear of missing out. They want to stay engaged with what kids are doing online. And that's a lot. And it would be too difficult, I think, without a multi-stakeholder type approach to supporting youth. And so that means the school, yes, we definitely want the school to be involved. We definitely want parents and families to be involved. So it's going to take a lot of different stakeholders to help support trending screen time down.
Absolutely. Let's talk about thriving in the future. If we're truly embedding mental health and well-being as a foundational in the education system, what would schools look like or feel like?
Well, I think schools are the place where we learn how to develop the human skills that we need to thrive over the course of our lifetime. It's where we learn how to develop our sense of identity. It's where we develop our pro-social skills, our emotional intelligence, all of the social emotional learning things. And I think that we need to take that into consideration with the emergence of new technologies and how do we use AI to help to leverage the power of AI in a way that's thoughtful and useful, but not to interfere with the human intelligence that we know is super important and important for people to thrive over the course of their lifetime. So I think there's a bit of a balancing act that we need to do. And I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all answer. I think we've got a lot of work to do, and learning together, I think, would be helpful. So I'm not sure if I exactly answered your question, but there's some pieces in there that I think are helpful.
Yeah, no, it definitely covers the bases. What mind shift is required for leaders to make well-being central, not peripheral, and model? I'm a big fan of modeling, so getting outdoors, if you're a leader and being outdoors, and there's a lot of great leaders we know that will demonstrate that, hey, I'm outdoors, I'm at a sporting event, I'm running, I'm doing something other than being on my phone. Talk to me about that important shift in mindset from a leadership perspective.
So I love that you are bringing up some of the activities that people can engage in, both for physical fitness reasons, but also for social and emotional reasons. We connect with others in sporting groups or other activities that we belong in, whether it's arts, dance, any kind of activity that's group-based for various reasons. And there are all kinds of reasons that those are good and healthy behaviors. So I think modeling that is really important. Bringing that into the school in a lived and breathed way is also really important, not just for the leader themselves, but allowing time for other leaders and teachers in the schools to be able to do that as well, I think is really important. But it also requires emotional intelligence for our leaders. There's a lot going inside our classrooms. Like I said at the beginning, they're more complex than ever, and we have a lot of staff who are feeling burnt out. They're needing extra support. And we know that we have a lot of students who are dysregulated and need some extra support. And so we need to model it, but we also need to make time for it. And then we need to really listen. And the solution might be different, I believe, for every system or for every school. But overall, there are some common threads of things that we can do. Like you said, modeling good behavior. I also think being an emotionally intelligent leader and being willing to grow and learn in those areas and capacities. One question that keeps coming up is, what is it going to mean to be human in the age of AI? And that's an area that we need to explore and think about. Part of that is cultivating really authentic, important relationships, building a culture of belonging and care inside our school systems, so that when our kids are leaving the school system, they have the capacities to go build those kind of caring cultures of belonging outside of the school system, because they know how to do it, because they've lived and breathed it through the course of our lifetime. And so I think leaders creating those environments is really, really important.
Absolutely. What's one daily practice that supports student well-being? One small change that can create a big impact that students can embark on.
I think one of the smallest changes is to allow yourself to take a quick little brain break. And if you can do 3 brain breaks a day, it's actually shown to have a significant impact, not only on student mental health and well-being, but also on their academic ability. When we did a little study, we found statistically significant gains in students' attention, concentration, and focus with brain breaks. And we also found, of course, changes in their social and emotional skills, which we expected to find, but the academic and learning skills that changed were really, really interesting for us. And what that tells us, if we, to learn well, you need to be well. And so I would say that I noticed on Bell Let's Talk Week, you might have seen some of the commercials. They did the box breathing. Breathe in, hold for 4, breathe out, hold for 4. Brain breaks can be as simple as that. A lot of us wear little devices nowadays. If you do certain brain breaks and take a look at your heart rate, you'll notice an instant difference. We need that, the nervous system to have a moment to calm down. And the best way to do it is through quick breath work.
Amazing advice, Dr. Gina Cherkowski. Any final thoughts to share before we wrap up this sneak peek of the upcoming Mental Health Summit?
No, I just think everyone that works with kids and around kids, we all want to be part of the solution. We love our students. We love our schools. We want to help support youth in ways that are critically important to help build strong, healthy citizens over the course of their lifetime. If you want to engage in the conversation and be part of this, please come to the summit. We know that this work is critical and really needed, especially right now, as our nation is healing and hurting a little bit from the recent sad news from Tumbler Ridge.
Absolutely.
And we keep that in our mind and think about how can we, put systems in place to better support our youth and our mental health.
With that, thank you for your leadership in advancing well-being in schools, Dr. Gina Cherkowski, Conference Chair for the Mental Health Summit and Executive Director of the Werklund Institute for Social and Emotional Intelligence Canada, where listeners can go to learn more about the summit. Check out the mentalhealthsummit.com. My name is Robert Mertolacci, the MindShare Learning Report. Be sure to check out www.MindShare Learning to get your latest issue. And until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep the learning curve steep.